All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm super excited to be here with you and to share the Launch Lounge workshop with you. I am Hannah Munjat, host of the Launch Your Practice online masterclass series. If you just finished that with me, and then this founder of Speakeasy Digital. So, what can you expect this evening? So, you will learn how to grow an audience and a community of fans for free without Facebook ads, although we are going to talk a little bit about Facebook ads tonight. And this is true even if you don't have a product or a program to sell yet. How to host heart centered enrollment conversations so you can enroll your audience into your high ticket transformational program with ease. And I know that's a sticking point for a lot of you folks is, kind of the sales conversation and the sales process, and you don't always want to be selling or feeling sleazy. And we're gonna chat a little bit about that tonight too. You will learn the one tool that will set you apart from the competition, so they'll choose to buy from you over anyone else, and the fastest and easiest way to create connection and engagement online so you can give your audience exactly what they want for maximum success. And that means maximum success for you as a business owner and your client. So it's a win-win for everyone involved. And by the end of our time together tonight, you're going to know which audience building strategy is right for you, your business, and more importantly, why it's important to have an audience prior to launching your program, and why having heart-centered enrollment calls that don't feel sleazy matters for you and your clients. Okay, so you are in the right place if you're ambitious and eager and have a goal of six figures for yourself and your business. You understand that there is no secret, no hocus pocus, and no magic, but the best way to learn is to be in the energy of someone who has done what you're trying to do. And you understand that this is not a journey you can do alone, and that it requires investing in yourself, your business, and doing whatever it takes to reach your goals with, of course, support along the way. So this is not for you if you've never worked with clients before and are feeling lost as to how to get clients results. So, if you're confused as to what protocols to use, nutrition advice, anything sort of like in terms of how to help your clients go from X to Z, we are not going to be talking about that tonight. Um, you should be certified in some sort of program, whether a health coaching program or some sort of licensing that kind of gives you that knowledge and that support. This also maybe is not for you if you don't want to be known as an expert in your area of expertise and you're not really looking for a revenue stream, and you kind of just want to stay where you're at and not really motivated to make any sort of change. So in return, I just ask that you show up fully present and ready to engage and implement some of these action steps. So with that being said, let's dive into the good stuff. All right. So oftentimes, in life and in business, the two often feels like they often mirror each other, at least when you're an entrepreneur, is you have kind of the easy path or the hard path. You can follow a system created by experts that kind of gives you this blueprint and the support and accountability and encouragement you need, or you can kind of go it alone, kind of guess what works, kind of throw that spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks and continue to spin your wheels. And since you're here tonight joining me, I think that you all are looking for the proven easier path. So who am I anyways? So some of you may be new, some of you have been around for a while. So I lead a small, nimble team with over 20 years of digital marketing experience. At Speakeasy Digital, we help health coaches, healers, practitioners build online communities that impact, serve, and heal. Our mission is to transition 1,000 wellness entrepreneurs online and help heal 1 million people. And our team believes the healthcare industry is ripe for disruption, and we intend to be a part of the revolution. And just a little bit of background about Speakeasy Digital is we've been in business since 2013, and for 6 years, we're almost a full stack done for you marketing agency that worked with health wellness entrepreneurs. So we did Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads, SEO. We wrote blog posts and did email marketing and webinars. We built websites. It almost ran the full gamut on what we did. And it was great. Business was busy. We never had a shortage of people who wanted to work with us. The team, we learned a lot in that process and helped a lot of people. But towards the end of 2018, I was really at a crossroads in my life personally. And also, I had been seeing a lot of newer coaches and practitioners to the online world, not necessarily newer in business or newer in their career, but newer to the online world and really wanting to break into the online world, that we were, having discovery calls with, that wanted to work with us, and that they had something really valuable to offer the world, but it just wasn't who we worked with. We worked with more established people, and so we turned them away. And it was really starting to kind of sit with me a little heavier, of like, how can I better serve these newer folks that are newer to the online world? Because there really wasn't, I felt like, a really great coach or a really great consultant or a really great program that served newer people really well. And at the same time, I was getting a little bit burnt out by the agency model. So the end of 2018, we intentionally pivoted the business to do more online events like masterclass series, challenges, things like that, and as well as doing coaching and consulting. And that's what we've been doing for almost the last 2 years now. So just a little bit of background on me. So I also have a bachelor's degree in marketing and a master's in public administration with a focus on public health from Cornell, a registered yoga teacher, definitely a wellness enthusiast, and love the fulfillment and flexibility being an entrepreneur in the health and wellness space offers me. I also live in Chicago with my husband, who's a physician's assistant at an urgent care in the city. This is us, and the last 18 months have been a wild ride with healthcare in America, which I'm sure you all can relate to. So at Speakeasy, we've implemented the BUILD framework, which I'm sure you've heard me talk about with dozens of wellness entrepreneurs. So let's just go over that as to what it specifically means. So B is for build an audience. U is understand their needs, struggles, and the transformation they desire. This is essentially market research, which I know you've heard if you've been through the masterclass series. You've heard our speakers talk about, you likely have heard other people talk about that in this space. I is for inspire them that change is possible. So you want to give them small little wins and then lead them to a transformational offer that is your transformational program. And you do that with your heart-centered, unscripted sales system, which we're going to talk about tonight, and then deliver results via your program. So kind of that container that you deliver your results in is with your program, your transformational program. So now, as you might have noticed, I have build an audience is the first step. Can anyone guess why that is? Just post it in the chat if anyone wants to take a guess. Don't be shy. If you want, you can just send your response to just me individually in the chat, and I won't mention your name, but I'll just share it with the group. So you can gauge what their needs are. Yes, because it really does help inform all of the steps afterwards, right? Understanding them, doing the market research. Well, then you have an audience of people you can do market research with. Inspire them that change is possible. So you have this group of people that are your target market. They're your, the pool of potentially ideal clients that you can then bring them along into your process and, go from being in your audience and being in your sphere of influence to, eventually being a client of yours, and you can help them bridge that gap, by understanding their needs, inspiring them, and then having a heart-centered sales system to lead them to your transformational offer. Yep. And so you have an audience in order to make an offer. Yes. Spot on. Exactly. I love this. Yes. So that's exactly right. I see so often people will create a program and get, really kind of in the weeds, so to speak, with like, what am I going to include in the program? And what kind of protocols am I going to do? And what kind of testing am I going to do? How many times are we going to meet? And what are the worksheets? And like all of that, right? Which is important. But you can spend so much time creating this program before you even have an audience, and you might be creating something that doesn't serve them the way they want and need to be served. All right. So, people that we've worked with in the past that have implemented this build framework, they get a clear path to success, right? Because you're talking to your ideal clients. They're telling you exactly what they want and need. You get less confusion and overwhelm and more clarity, a more predictable income. And then as a result, they get to spend more time doing the things that they love, whether it's more time with family, traveling, whatever it is that, whatever the reason is that you desire a bit more autonomy. But you guys, you need to believe that this is possible for you to create a six-figure business online. And I know it's possible if you just believe in yourself and, come along with me for the ride tonight. So let me know, is this resonating with you? Is this you? How do you want your online business to show up and impact the world? How much time do you want to spend working each week? And then how much do you want to make in the next 12 months? Just spend a few minutes kind of marinating in that and let me know in the comments. Yes, good, 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 good. I love that. Perfect. I'm glad this is resonating with you all. So some of the mistakes I see happening, and want to be a thought leader in your industry. Yes, absolutely. And being seen as an expert and an authority. I love it. So we've talked about some of these mistakes already, but let's just chat about them for a few moments. So, build programs and marketing systems before you either have an audience or know what your audience wants. Don't have a clearly defined path to purchase. Oftentimes people will, just say, well, I don't know what to do. I think it just takes a lot of time, a lot of expertise that I don't have. Or using scaling methods and strategies to build your business. And we're going to dive into that a bit more tonight. Okay, so let's dive into that first one. So build programs and marketing systems before you either have an audience or know what your audience wants. So what is the outcome of that? Well, oftentimes you have a lack of connection or you have no one to connect with, right? And your program just flops, and that leads to discouragement. You hear kind of crickets and people just get frustrated, and it just kind of leads to this spinning spiral of not despair, but of frustration, right? And why does this happen? Okay, well, it happens because they don't have an audience. And if people do have an audience, most often what I see is they don't do this audience research step. So they're more focused on the program and identifying, who's going to buy and why are they buying? What really is the desire there? Oftentimes I see that people will just assume what people need and also what they want. Instead of selling them what they want and giving them what they need. And you do this by doing extensive market research. Now, so yeah, this is so me right now, although I thought I was doing my research. Yes. So it's common. I mean, if you guys have been around kind of in my world for more than probably 3 months, you guys probably have noticed that I survey you every few months. And I do that, and I will continue to do that forever, because there's always new people coming into my world, coming into my email list, and I want to continue to know, what are your struggles? What are you having issues with? What are your challenges? What is that transformation you desire? Why do you desire it? What support do you need? Because then I can continue to create masterclass series and workshops and programs that serve you, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, that's why we're all here, right? We want to serve people, we want to help people. And by doing that, we honestly help ourselves in our business too. It's a win-win for everyone involved. So if you skip this step, you will oftentimes spin your wheels. And sometimes I'll see that people create new programs and just never get those new programs off the ground because they've skipped the audience building and the audience research step. And then sometimes you just end up wasting for sure time, but sometimes money too. Ooh, I am going backwards. Okay, so what do you need to do instead? All right, so we need to find out where your audience hangs out and what language they speak, and then speak like they speak in your messaging and how you communicate with them. Connect with them. That can be through surveys, it could be through free strategy sessions. Connect with them and get through the surface and down to their deepest desires. Now, this doesn't mean you have to do hours and hours and hours and hours of market research forever. But especially when you're beginning, it's good to get that, especially get on the phone or get on a Zoom with someone and have a conversation with them. But at the absolute least, surveying is really powerful. All right, so the second one that we chatted about, if you don't have a clearly defined path to purchase, right? And so your audience never finds you, or you leave your audience confused. That happens often. And then a confused mind is just going to leave. And this leads you to being frustrated and overwhelmed, hitting your head against the wall. And maybe you feel like all you do is give away free content. I hear that a lot too. Like, oh, I just keep giving away free content and no one works with me. Well, oftentimes it's not necessarily your content that's bad. Most often your content is like gold, but you don't have that heart-centered sales system in place to bring them from receiving that content to getting on a call, having a conversation with you. And as a result, you kind of just get stuck in like this overwhelm and consuming of the information mode. And as you know, with these masterclass series, there's a lot of information, but I try to build in little pieces, little sessions, to really help you guys get into momentum and moving forward so you don't get stuck into that, just consuming. Okay, why does this mistake occur? Well, honestly, I think it boils down to a few false beliefs like, oh, I'm not techie enough. Paid advertising is the only way to compete with other experts, and that's too expensive, and I don't know how to do that. Or, it takes too much time to set this all up. I'm not good at sales. I don't want to always be selling. I don't want to feel sleazy, things like that. But the cost of not building a marketing journey without a clear path is you're unable to work with your dream clients. And ideally, we want you enrolling everyone you speak with that is a good fit. Now, not everyone you chat with is going to be a good fit, but everyone that you've talked to that is a good fit, we want you onboarding them. And if you're not, then you're unable to help and heal more people. And there are people out there that need you. All right, now here's one that I'm super passionate about, and you've probably heard me talk about before. And if you haven't, then I'm probably not saying it often enough. And that is using scaling methods and strategies to build your business. We're going to dive into that here in a little bit. But what starts to happen? Oftentimes it's that things aren't happening fast enough or they're costing too much money. And so you run into like oh, it just doesn't work, or, I'm just not seeing any results. And you kind of just give up and stay stagnant, which is not what we want. Or you kind of hop around to different strategies like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that, or I'm going to sign up for this, and then I'll sign up for that. But you just don't ever really get into momentum. All right, so how did you get here in the first place? As in here with me tonight, but also just here kind of in my world. Now, chances are you were at one point maybe comparing yourself to others or looking out there in the world and seeing like, I'm seeing these wellness entrepreneurs, health coaches, practitioners, they're launching programs, they're making six figures. They have a lot of autonomy. They're kind of living the life of their dreams, but impacting more people. And I want that. Well, it is possible to do that, but chances are they've already built an audience and they have some authority. So it does take time to build this, but it doesn't have to take years. And with this process that we're chatting about right now, we're going to continue to lay out tonight, you can do it honestly in just a few months. And the illusion of, I don't know what to do, it costs you, right? It costs you time and money. And ultimately, you're not serving the people who need you. All right, so let's chat about Dr. Ellen and Dr. Scott. They had a detox program and they knew it could help thousands of people. But they were suffering from information overwhelm, like too many strategies, not sure where to start. So they worked with us and we created a simplified marketing machine using the Build framework. They launched their detox program online in less than 8 weeks, and it generated 28K in revenue for them in just that first cohort. So that's pretty good. Who would be pretty happy with that? Yes, me, absolutely. Love that. All right, so let's dive into building an audience. What do you need to build an audience? Anyone want to take a guess? We've chatted about this in the interviews, but also just throughout content I've released through workshops and videos and stuff like that. An email list. Yep. Yeah, exactly. So to build an audience, you need traffic from somewhere. So online traffic, you need an online traffic source. You need something to entice them to give you their email list. So that could be, maybe a masterclass series like we just went through, a workshop like this, a one page like, top tips or 10 ways to blah, blah, blah. Or maybe it's a short video with you teaching something of value, right? And then a way to nurture and engage them, essentially email marketing to what becomes your email list. Does this make sense? All right. So we're going to dive into that first part, which is traffic. So step one, we're going to identify our options. And then we're going to list the pros and cons of each. And then we'll determine if you need a build or a scale strategy. And then the intent is for you to feel empowered to choose the one that's right for you tonight. Okay. So if you nail this step, your audience will fall in love with you. You'll build a loyal following that loves hearing from you. Know, like, and trust. Your audience will start to ask to work with you. Your marketing message will flow with ease, and you'll easily have a heart-centered sales conversation with them. Okay. It is, it's not uncommon for me as well as the people I help and work with, for people to be asking them like, how can I work with you? Do you have a one-on-one program? How can I be mentored by you? It just happens naturally as a part of this process. All right, so our first option is organic traffic. So what is organic traffic? It is things like Google search. So every time we type in something in Google search, Google brings up these options for us. Sure, there's some ads, but mostly it's free information, free content of some sort out there that Google says, hey, based on what you typed in, I think you'll like these things. Go check them out. That's kind of that organic Google search traffic. And this is oftentimes done through site SEO and blogging. Lisa Klitsch talked about this in our masterclass series, actually over 2 interviews that she had. And then there's organic social media marketing. So going live, posting stories, posting on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, things like that. Okay, so what are some of the pros of organic traffic, do you think? What are some of the advantages of it? Well, it's relatively inexpensive, right? The organic traffic part of it is free, right? You can do it yourself, which all of that's just costing you time, or if you pay someone to do it, that would be your expense. And it can produce long-term results, right? But the cons is it takes time to build up. So it's a great long-term strategy, but it does take a little bit of time to start seeing results. And it tends to be a slow trickle of people joining your email list where, if you're getting a couple of leads a week through your organic work, that's pretty good. You're doing pretty good. But, it's going to take a while for you to start building up a sizable email list to then launch a program to. So that's one of the cons especially if this is the only form of traffic that you're getting. And then there's little to no control over it, right? So you have no control over, let's say you want to launch a program and you want to launch it in, let's say, January. What's hard to plan if if your main source of traffic is organic, it's hard to plan, okay, well, I need X amount of people on my email list to get X amount of people in my program. Does this make sense? Okay, so that's traffic source number one that we're going to chat about is organic. And what do you think? Do you think this is a good building strategy or a good scaling strategy? Building. We're getting building and scaling both. Yeah, this is a little bit of a hybrid one, I would say. So I like to say that this is a good supplemental strategy, right? I think it's a good strategy to have and a good option to have as like your second or your third option. Um, because it does take time. It's certainly not a bad strategy, but because of the cons on here, it's really good to have it as the supplemental to another traffic option. Does that make sense? All right, so now we have paid traffic. So essentially paid ads on, places like Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok. You essentially like paying to have your ad on an online platform, right? So keep going backwards tonight. That is not what we want to be doing. We want to be moving forward. Okay, so the pros to that is it's scalable, right? So once you once you get it converting and working really well for your business, you can scale it up. And you definitely have some control over the number of people coming into your sphere of influence and onto your email list, right? So if you have a launch and you've been running Facebook ads, you can say, okay, well, I want to enroll 12 people into my program. So let's figure out how many new leads I need. And then we can, you know, incorporate that into our Facebook ad strategy. So essentially it kind of becomes a numbers game, which can be helpful. The cons are it costs money as you need someone to manage them and to pay ad spend. So now you notice I say you need someone to manage them. And I don't say this because we manage ads because we don't manage ads anymore. So I say that because essentially we are going to a cookieless world next year with all of the changes going on with iOS and platform updates and all that. It really is just becoming a really very complex, complicated machine to operate, and you really do need someone who's just fully immersed into it daily. 3 years ago, 5 years ago, you could definitely dabble in Facebook ads a little bit and see some decent results and kind of learn it yourself. But unfortunately, that's just not really true anymore. So there's that. And then you have no control over algorithm and platform changes, right? And This is also key. They're ineffective unless you have a business model that is already working well. So what does that mean? So it means that you really need to have a proven process, right? In terms of like, okay, people are coming to my email list, they're coming into my sphere of influence. I'm giving them some free content, nurturing them, understanding them, inspiring them that change is possible. And then I'm leading them to a heart-centered sales conversation and bringing them in to my transformational program. That whole build process, once that's working well and you proving like, yes, it does work, people come in, and then eventually people at a good rate come into my program, then at that point, it's a good time to start, kind of putting gasoline on that fire and start doing Facebook ads. Does that make sense? Perfect. All right, so then we have friends, family, and referrals. So this means, like posting on your personal profile, your personal page, either, on Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, things like that. Reaching out to friends and family to work with you and asking current clients to refer others to you. What do we think the pros of this are? Well, the pros are it does seem to be a less scary sale as these people already know you or know someone who does. And it's free to market to them, right? Posting on your profile, reaching out to friends and family, asking current clients. That doesn't cost you anything. But the cons is it's not scalable, right? You have really no control over how many people come into your sphere of influence with this strategy. These people might not be in your target market, right? And if they are in your target market, they might not be your ideal client or your dream client, right? So do we think, is this a build strategy, a scale strategy, or a supplemental strategy? Hmm. Supplemental, yes, I would agree. This is a good additional strategy to incorporate once you have something else going on. Mhm. All right, and then that brings us to the last one, the last kind of online traffic option that we have currently in the world, and that is partnership marketing. Okay, and this is when someone else promotes you to their audience. And this is done through what we call co-creation events. And there's many different forms of co-creation events, but you do some sort of event with other experts in your field that have similar audiences to you. Okay. And the masterclass series we just went through is a co-creation event. It's just one example of them. You can also do you could do virtual challenges. You could do, like 3, 4, 5-day workshop series. There's a few different options, but essentially you come together, you bring a group of experts together, and you're one of them, and you talk about different topics, and you all collectively promote to your audiences. All right, so the pros of this is it's inexpensive to do because you're just reaching out to potential speakers. So it takes a little bit of your time. And then you're interviewing them, so it takes a little bit more of your time, but you're not paying them to be part of the program or part of the event, and you're not paying them to do any sort of promotion for you. So it's inexpensive in terms of that. And you actually can make some money doing it, which is kind of nice. So it helps kind of reimburse you for the time that you spent essentially by selling those premium VIP tickets. You get leveraged authority and can build an audience of a few hundred to several thousand pretty quickly. So you could easily go from having no audience to a couple hundred people or a couple thousand people on your email list in, a couple of weeks, really. So it's quite attractive. And leveraged authority is really powerful, right? So let me just explain that briefly on what leveraged authority is. So leveraged authority is, let's take Sakin Patel, for example. He was on our speakers in this last masterclass series. So he is definitely seen as an authority in the field, and he is definitely seen as an authority to his email list, right? So he was part of our speaker list. I interviewed him, and then he promoted the event and all of the other speakers, all of the other topics to his community. So his email list, his social followers, his Facebook group. And because he has authority with his community, people are like, oh, yeah, he wouldn't be part of an event that's not going to be amazing. I should sign up, right? And same with our other speakers, same with, Dave Smith and Lisa Fraley. You kind of get this leveraged authority, and so do all the other speakers, of being kind of on this virtual stage. So it really is just a win-win-win for everyone involved. And it's like fishing in a barrel instead of an ocean. I always thought this analogy was kind of funny, to be honest, but it's perfect for this example. So fishing in an ocean is complicated, right? It requires lots of skill and gear. Well, a barrel, everyone has gathered up the fish for you. You literally just dip your line in the water and you'll catch fish. That's kind of what partnership marketing is all about. You're in a barrel as opposed to the ocean. Now, the cons of this is it takes some time, it does, and it takes some persistence and moving through success blocks. So what are the success blocks you might have to go through? Most often I see people kind of get hung up on imposter syndrome a little bit and like, ooh, well, who would want to be in one of my events? Or, how am I going to get speakers because I'm not really well known? Kind of those success blocks and those little gremlins start to creep up for folks when doing this type of marketing. There's a couple of different strategies that I teach to kind of overcome that. But see, the crux of the issue is really keeping in mind that it's a win-win-win for everyone. You're giving these speakers a platform to be on, a virtual stage to come speak on, share their message, share their influence, expand their reach. And as a result, they get more people into their community, right? Into their email list, their Facebook group, all of that. It's a win for you because you're growing your email list, and it's a win for the participants because they get so much value from all of these different speakers. So what do we think this strategy is good for? Do we think it's a good building strategy, a good scaling strategy, or a good supplemental strategy? Scaling. Any other guesses? Building, scaling. Yes, I agree. So I really think it's just a great strategy to use no matter where you're at in your business. So I think it's a great strategy to use in the beginning to build, because you can build an audience pretty quickly. That doesn't cost you a lot of money to do so. And you can really fast track kind of being seen as an expert and an authority in the field because of that leveraged authority. However, I think it's great to use even as you're scaling up your business too. I mean, I think we'll always be using partnership marketing in our strategy. It will always be one of our traffic strategies, I think. So yeah, I think it's really both, and can be used really regardless of where you're at in your entrepreneur journey. All right, so I know I've just thrown a lot of information at you, but based on what we talked about, what traffic option do you think is right for you? And just to recap, we have organic, right? So organic social media, SEO, blogging. We have paid traffic, so Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google, TikTok ads, right? And then we have our partnership marketing, which we just chatted about. And then we have, referrals, reaching out to friends and family. Partnership marketing. Good. We have one vote for partnership marketing. Anyone else want to share? Partnership. Yep. Alrighty. I love it. Thanks for sharing, guys and gals. All right. So how to successfully build an audience that wants to work with you, right? Because that's key. So building an audience is one thing, But at the end of the day, we need to be enrolling people in our programs, right? So, and this goes back to our build framework, right? You need to clearly identify who your audience is. So demographics, where are they starting out? What's the transformation they desire? Identify how you bridge that gap and communicate with them. So that, really comes down to understanding them, identify or inspiring them that change is possible, leading them to an offer, right? And then giving them a home, right? Your email list and your Facebook group, or your community, a place where they can hear from you regularly and get to know you with content like challenges, workshops, master classes, things like that. So your free content really does become part of your unscripted sales system, your heart-centered sales system. It doesn't just become, oh, I'm just giving away all this free content. I mean, you are, but it becomes part of the strategy and part of your end goal of enrolling clients. And then putting it all together. So once you have the audience, once you understand them, you're inspiring them that change is possible, you're leading them to your transformational offer with your heart-centered enrollment conversation, delivering the results with the container being your high-ticket transformational program. And then honestly, from here, you can rinse and repeat and eventually start adding in some additional traffic sources. So the build framework it's like you go through build, and then you go through build again and go through build again, right? It really is just rinse and repeat in your business. And the build phase, the build your audience with a traffic source, that can change over time, right? So, maybe a year from now, the traffic source you're using now might just be only one of your traffic sources that you'll be using a year from now. Does that make sense? All right. So, not exactly sure why you showed up today, although I'm grateful that you're all here. But maybe you're frustrated because you've been through multiple trainings and courses and you just really haven't been able to put it all together. Or it could be that you're struggling to find time to get all of the pieces in place. Or maybe you were just curious about what I was going to teach and you wanted to see if it could work for you too. So type yes if that was you, if any of this resonates with you. Yes, yes, I love it. Great. Good, good, good. Good stuff, guys. All right. So I want you to know that you are capable and deserving of having a thriving online business. And you're still here, meaning that you're committed, and I want you to get started onto your path. And remember, truly everything that I've shared here, it's not fluff. It's what we've done with numerous clients. It's what's I've implemented into my own business, and it is what's working right now. So if there's one thing to take away from today, it's that you can transition your business or practice online without spending a ton of money and time figuring it all out and like just getting, staying in that spinning your wheels feeling. I don't want that for you. So if there was a way to have me walk you through the system over the next 6 months to allow you to generate an income stream online, would you be interested in hearing more about that? So one of the common questions I get asked, and one of the common questions you're going to be getting asked in the near future is it possible to go deeper with you? Or how can I work with you? Or do you do one-on-one? Things like that. So we always have a choice, right? So you can, kind of continue going at it on your own, spending effort, energy, or fast track your progress and really locking arms with me and really having the support and accountability and strategy to make it happen along the way. So if you're anything like some of our past clients, you know that transitioning online is the answer to being overworked and overwhelmed. You know it's the way to reach more people in less time, but you're at a crossroads. And you might be wondering or wishing someone could just, kind of give you the starting point, the step-by-step game plan, and then be there for support when things don't go as planned or blow up, because they will. Just like in life, right? I wish I could say it's going to be smooth sailing, but sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. There's always ups and downs. And so you'll have someone there to catch you when that does happen. Okay, so you have the opportunity to work one-on-one with me and closely with the team over the next 6 months. So I coach you one-on-one for the full 6 months. I teach you how to build an audience through partnership marketing, understand their needs, and inspire them that change is possible. We then will develop a transformational program based on what we learned from your audience. I also give you the support and tools necessary to work through any blocks you may have for success, because it's time to kick those success gremlins to the curb. And then we'll teach you how to sell in a non-sleazy way. So all of our work together up until that point is really valuable. But what about when you get your audience on the phone on an enrollment call? We'll teach you how to host that call with ease and grace, and how to articulate what you do in your transformational program in a brilliant way. We have Michelle Rockwood, a heart-centered sales expert who's just really, really lovely, and that's going to support you through this whole sales process. So I'm opening my calendar for the next few days so you can schedule time to speak with me on how to take advantage of this opportunity. So let me just walk you through it again. So step by step for the next 6 months. So you'll book a call, we'll have a chat. You decide you want to move forward. We will get started officially in November. So it runs from the 1st of November to the end of April. And between now and November, I'll give you some homework to do, some pre-work. We start meeting in November. And the first third of the program, so the first 2 months, is all about getting your partnership marketing up and running, kind of doing the legwork to make that happen. The second third of the program, so months 3 and 4, is when we actually start getting to know how to have a heart-centered enrollment call, how to have that sales system. Michelle comes in and starts training you then, because we want you to be practicing and gaining that knowledge before you get on those calls. And then you'll be getting on those calls in month 4, 5, and 6. So on those months of the program, you're going to be having enrollment calls. You'll be troubleshooting with Michelle. She'll be walking you through any objections you have, really kind of locking arms with you and walking you through how to have a very well converting heart-centered sales system. And then you'll also be working with me to help develop things like challenges and workshops and master classes to help continuously sell people into booking an enrollment call into your program. And then really at the end of the 6 months, you should be able to be flying on your own, and really just rinse and repeating the build framework to continue to build your business. So why this works. Now you might be thinking, okay, this is great, Hannah, but why does this build framework actually work? Well, let's just take you through a couple of scenarios. So I recently worked with a 32-year-old woman, and she was pivoting her business model. So she wasn't necessarily starting over with her expertise. She was still using the same expertise she had always used, but she was starting over with her marketing. So her goal was to grow a niched audience to invite into a 6-month transformational one-on-one program. So we started with partnership marketing. We got a little over 3,000 people on her email list. And remember, she started with 0. She made $7,329,000 in sales while growing that audience, and then went on to sell $17,500 in her one-on-one program sales. All right, so now I know tech is scary for a lot of folks. So what if tech scares you? That's okay, because I recently worked with a 60-year-old woman who wanted to grow what started as a hobby after she retired into something that allowed her to focus on the things she loved again and outsource what she didn't. So it started as just a hobby, but really turned into a business. And she really wanted to structure her business in a way that allowed her to focus on what she loved and make enough money that she could hire people to help her with the stuff that she didn't love so much. So her goal was to grow a niche audience to invite into a 3-month group coaching program. So her list growth was 900. She made $2,160 in sales from her partnership marketing event. And then she went and sold her first cohort into her group program and made $8,970. So now you're thinking, okay, she doesn't like tech. What about all the tech pieces, Hannah? Well, we helped her find someone to work with her. She outsourced that for a little under $1,000, $997. All right. So this conversation is for wellness entrepreneurs who, more than ever, want to create time and freedom in their practice or business by transitioning online. However, you're missing the plan and the support to make it happen. So let's get on a 45-minute call. We'll identify where you're currently at, where you want to be this time next year, and then discuss how this 6-month transformational program will really help you with having me and the team there with you every step of the way to support you, give you accountability, and guide you. So is this right for you? Well, if you're happy where you currently are and you've decided like, this isn't for me, then it's probably not for you. And it's probably not a good fit, at least not at this time. And if you have no idea how to help clients with their health and wellness, and I'm not saying that to be negative, but this probably isn't a good fit at this time either. It could be down the road, but this program specifically, like I said, is not going to, this program and the build framework really doesn't help you with protocols or how to help people adapt their nutrition, things like that. But if you're someone who doesn't give 100%, then this probably isn't for you, because honestly, guys, me and the team pour our heart and soul and expertise into this program, and we expect the same from you. So a couple of testimonials. One is from the lovely Spring Barnacle. She says the Speakeasy Digital team are enthusiastic, engaging professionals who offer exceptional knowledge and results. She's worked with a dozen of advertising and marketing agencies over the years, and she's never met a team with a deeper skill set or more reliable ROI. They consistently exceed expectations. And then we also have something from the lovely Dr. Ellen. She says, Speakeasy Digital has been an absolute joy to work with. Prior to working with us, she was overwhelmed and learning all the things she needed to grow her practice. Now she's beginning to monetize her expertise, grow her impact and reach while making a bigger impact in the world. So how to schedule a strategy session. All right, so I'm going to post a link in the chat. So you'll click that link, and that will walk you through scheduling a time in the next few days that's convenient for you. The program, the enrollment is, we're closing down enrollment Sunday night. So you'll want to schedule a call between now and Sunday night to chat with me. Fill out the questionnaire truthfully so we can get a really good idea of where you are now. So you'll schedule a time and then you'll be brought to a questionnaire. And then come to the call with pen, paper, and an open mind, and just be really ready to dive in with me so we can have just a very honest conversation about whether or not this is right for you. So with all that being said, click the link to schedule a call, and I'm happy to entertain any questions you all have about the content that we covered tonight. Any questions at all about really anything that we chatted about? Traffic sources, the build framework, anything and everything.
I have a question.
Yes.
So for me, and I'm Ambra. So for me, I started the website and I kind of did the mistake number one, where I thought I was doing some research and then going on and the website and creating that, and then doing, Facebook and Instagram, and then just felt really overwhelmed and because nothing was really happening. And so, if I did do this with you, would I have to just kind of put my business on hold from what I was doing and just kind of just move forth with you? How would that look?
Yeah. So no, you definitely don't have to put your business on hold. We would implement a partnership marketing strategy to grow your audience. How big, do you have an email list currently?
Not, it's very small. It's
That's
about,
okay.
yeah, it's small.
Okay, that's okay. So we would do a partnership marketing event to grow that email list. and then do market research with them. And you can still keep doing the market research you're currently doing on Facebook and Instagram. If that's something, if you're like, yes, this lights my fire, I love doing it, I want to keep doing it, by all means, keep doing it. But we're going to understand that the new audience we have, what their needs are, what their struggles are. We'll create some content that gives them some small wins, and we can repurpose content you might already have or create some new content. And then working with Michelle to lead them to a program that you might already have, but if you don't, we'll work together to create that. Like, what does that 3, 6, 12-month program look like? What are you going to offer? Is it going to be group coaching, one-on-one coaching? What is the transformation that you're going to offer people? So when they come to work with you in the program, where are they currently going to be? Where will they ideally end up at the end of the program? And then your process bridges that gap. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And this might be tied into what you just told me, but and this probably would be something that I would be learning, but how do you keep from sharing too much information? So with the masterclass series that I looked at or watched, it was great information, but how do you keep from sharing too much that can keep coming back to you?
Yeah. Yeah. So how to prevent the information overwhelm? Is that what you're asking? So, I mean, with the audience build, you'll have some people who will go through the partnership marketing event, whatever it is that we decide to offer and whatever that looks like for you in particular, but they'll go through that, and you'll have a handful of people who do just digest the information. And it doesn't mean that they won't ever work with you, but they're not going to come on and be a one-on-one client at this moment in time right away. And that's okay. We want to continue to nurture them and stay connected with them. But you'll have some people that really take advantage of these events that you offer in conjunction with the partnership marketing event that gets them into momentum. So there's a variety of things you can offer. But for example, in this masterclass series we just ended, I had the intention building session, momentum building session. Then there's this workshop to really get you guys that really are the action takers that want to move forward, give you the opportunity to do that and to implement that. And that will be the people who do that and take advantage of those things that you offer, will really end up being kind of like your hot people that come on and work with you one-on-one right away. Does that make sense?
Sorry. Yes, it does.
Okay, good. Yeah. Any other questions? So here's a question from someone in the audience. So in the 6-month program, you broke everything down into months, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, etc. When do you work on your program? So you'll be developing your program. So we're going to be doing market research with your audience in like months 3, and then you're going to be starting to develop the program so that you can communicate it to your audience in months 4, and then you'll be delivering that program in months 5 or 6. Most of you will be. Some of you may have some stumbling blocks and be starting to implement that program in month 6, but ideally you'd be starting that program with paying clients in month 5. And then your first cohort, so the first group of people you launch with your program, you're going to be building the program with them. And people actually really like that because they get to be part of the beta group. You build it with them, so it's very individualized to their needs. And there's some language that we can use that makes it seem very enticing and very advantageous, because truly it is. Cool. Awesome. Okay. Any other questions, guys, either about the program or about the content we chatted about? Yeah, and just to be clear, this isn't, if you have a business already that you're working on, this isn't meant to kind of disrupt to what you're currently doing. It's really meant to amplify what you're currently doing and really just kind of help you get that momentum that you are seeking. And also, I should mention that, so why is it 6 months? So I had debated on making it a little bit shorter, but I didn't. I made it a full 6 months. So I've done this program before in 3 and 4 months. I've done it also in the 6-month time period. But why did I do 6 months in particular for right now, since we're launching in November? So there's a couple of reasons. One is that some folks just need more time than others. You know, some people will have a little bit more of the gremlins with the sales or the gremlins with the imposter syndrome than others. Some people just have life things that come up. So oftentimes people just need a little bit more time for whatever reason. Also, November and December in North America, we have holidays coming up, right? We have Thanksgiving in the States, we have Christmas, there's lots of family time. And I wanted to buffer in time for you to enjoy those things while still working on your business, working with us on the build framework and seeing success. So the 6-month length is very intentional and very strategic. So you don't feel overwhelmed. It gives you enough time to truly see success and also still have a life and still be able to run your business. And then by the end of the 6 months, you should be able to fly on your own, rinse and repeat. Alrighty. Well, if there are no other questions, I will call it a night. But as always, you are so welcome, Vanessa. I'm glad it was helpful. So as always, if you have any questions, you can reply to any of the emails I send out. And then either myself or someone from the team will get back to you. And if you are interested in chatting about the program, make sure you schedule a call. All right, guys, thanks for being here. You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. And it's been a fun night to share with you.